watching Durango TV News, where we celebrate Southwest Colorado every day.
Who takes care of our community's children while their parents are at work? If it doesn't matter to you, think again. Our most popular trails will be closed on December 1st. Find out why you should obey the closures. And get ready for the 40th annual Snowdown celebration and the release of this year's special Snowdown beer. Join us for these stories and more on this edition of Durango TV News.
This program is brought to you by the Payroll Department, serving the Four Corners community with expertise, professionalism, and care.
You're watching Durango TV News. I'm Deborah Rhoda, sitting in for Wendy Graham-Settle. She's out of town this week. Working parents already know that childcare is hard to come by, but early childhood advocates say the lack of childcare in the area has grown into a crisis that eventually will affect the economy and the community's quality of life. Earlier this fall, Durango School District 9R formed the Child Care Crisis Committee with local child care providers and business leaders to address the issue. And last month, the committee began to survey the business community to better understand how the lack of child care impacts not only families, but the success of local businesses.
Anecdotally, we knew of people who were losing their jobs because of the lack of child care. And it isn't just like for pre-kindergarten ages. It's also for after-school care. Our kids' camp and the Boys and Girls Club have really suffered from a lack of finding enough people to apply for the jobs. And so we haven't been able to serve as many kids as we would like to. And so we knew that there were a lot of kids, elementary age kids, who were at risk. Either they're at risk because they're going home to empty houses, or in some kind of unsafe care in some cases, or their parents are really risking being able to keep their jobs because of a lack of child care.
The district enrolls nearly 200 students in preschool classes and serves an additional 300 students in after-school programs. Both have waiting lists. In a study conducted by the Early Childhood Council of La Plata County, the Colorado Early Childhood Program, and the Colorado Kids Count campaign, current child care programs meet only 38% of demand by families with children from 0 to 5 years of age. After-school care meets only 7% of demand. River House Children's Center, one of the largest child care centers in the county, serves 75 children a day with a wait list of nearly 300 families.
People call every day that have maybe say, you know, my husband secured a really good job in Durango, so we're looking for childcare. We want to move there, but they can't find childcare, so it's really limiting the talent that we're bringing into the Durango community.
Early childhood professionals say a number of factors contribute to the lack of slots available. Low wages for child care workers, lack of trained teachers, and local land use policies all have had an impact on availability. According to a wage survey by Early Milestones Colorado, a lead preschool teacher earns a median salary of $29,000. A teacher's aide earns a little more than $20,000 a year. But raising wages adds to the cost of child care, and cost becomes yet another barrier. Median costs of full-time child care can cost a family more than $4,300 a year for one school-age child and up to $10,000 a year for one infant. Although state subsidies are available for families through the Colorado Child Care Assistance Program, a two-parent family with 2 children will lose their support if they make more than $21 an hour combined. But according to Thrive, a local activist group that advocates for livable wages, it takes nearly $29 an hour to support a family of 4.
Realistically, families probably right now are spending more than their mortgage on child care. So it's probably a very big, we're talking like 30-40% of their income in some situations is what they're spending on child care.
Local child care advocates say that the lack of child care is forcing young families to move, and it makes it difficult for local businesses to hire new young talent. But to what extent? That's what the Crisis Committee hopes the survey will define. But beyond that, Anderson says the community's toddlers and preschoolers deserve a quality education.
There's a lot of studies going back that children that attend an early childhood program such as this end up earning on average $2,000 more a month than children that didn't attend an early learning center, as well as staying out of trouble with the law. Their marriages tend to last longer. There's just so much wealth of knowledge out there as to the benefits of early childhood education.
Early child care professionals say that it's time for the community to address the child care crisis now or face losing its young middle class. San Miguel County voters recently addressed their child care woes by passing a 3/4-cent sales tax to generate more than $600,000 annually for child care support. Aspen is another community that has a dedicated sales tax for child care subsidies for working families.
We're going to have a coming together of business people and people who are making decisions about the future of Durango to recognize that this is a very real issue in our community.
Contact Libby Culver at lculver@durango.k12.co.us for more information. River House Children's Center is a nonprofit that provides infant care, toddler care, and preschool classes for up to 75 children a day. It also provides financial aid to families whose annual income is too high to qualify for the Colorado Child Care Assistance Program, but too low to afford licensed child care. Last year, River House provided $45,000 in tuition through fundraising efforts and grants. Now you can help the child care crisis by designating a donation to the River House Children's Center during Colorado Gives Day on December 5th. For the first time in the 10-year history of the statewide giving campaign, the Community Foundation of Southwest Colorado is coordinating marketing efforts to more than double the amount of donations to 43 participating Southwest Colorado nonprofits. The Community Foundation of Southwest Colorado is an umbrella organization that manages endowments and restricted funds from local donors.
Yeah, we started with a group of local philanthropists who really wanted to establish a nonprofit that could support all the other nonprofits and be the place where endowments were put, be a place where people could put their security in the long-term efficacy of our nonprofits.
Last year, the Community Foundation gave more than $1.5 million in grants to Southwest Colorado nonprofits. In addition to managing endowments and grants, the foundation offers professional development workshops for nonprofit boards and staff members, and it coordinates region-wide fundraising efforts like Colorado Gives Day. The Southwest Colorado Gives campaign will have its own website at swcogives.org.
You go on to Southwest Colorado Gives and it lists all 43 nonprofits. You can click and give as easy as that. It's on a very secure site. Community First takes it very seriously. It's December 5th, but you can give all year long. You can actually schedule monthly or quarterly giving on that site. And so this is a tool that I'm hoping will become more and more a part of the fundraising package that every nonprofit uses.
You can wait until December 5th to participate in the statewide campaign, or you can make a donation now. Just go to swcogives.org. It started as a marketing effort to introduce their new craft beer. Now it's a tradition. Find out what Ska Brewing plans for this year's Snowdown beer after the break.
Coming soon to the Community Concert Hall at Fort Lewis College. Swing in the holidays with the hottest swing band in the world. For decades, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy has treated audiences to an irresistible blend of jazz and swing, America's original musical art form. The dance floor will be open for a holiday party at the Community Concert Hall on December 19th at 7:30 p.m. For tickets, go to DurangoConcerts.com.
We give a dime. Every time you use your Alpine Bank debit card, we donate 10 cents back to your community. And those dimes add up. Last year, Alpine Banks of Colorado donated nearly $1 million to nonprofit organizations, one dime at a time. Pick a card. Pick your favorite area to support. Spark change in your community today by switching to an Alpine Bank debit card. You care about your community, so do we. Alpine Bank gives a dime.
At Exit Realty, you're more than just a customer. See what it's like to work with a real estate company that truly cares about you and gives back to our community. Finally, a real estate company with heart.
We listen and find the right place based upon your tastes, lifestyle, and budget. Whether you're buying or selling, we're your local experts. From condos to million-dollar ranches, Durango is our home. Let us help you find yours.
The secret to serious Texas barbecue, low and slow. Low heat for a long period of time with lots of good oak smokes. There's St. Louis barbecue, there's Memphis barbecue. Us Texans, we think ours is the best.
Decide for yourself. Try Serious Texas Barbecue at one of our 2 Durango locations. Our line service is fast, our drive-thru's faster, but why hurry? We're kicking it Texas style.
Serious Texas barbecue, we're serious about our barbecue and nothing else.
This program is brought to you by Serious Texas Barbecue. We take our meat seriously.
You're watching Durango TV News. I'm Deborah Rhoda, sitting in for Wendy Graham-Settle, who's out of town this week. Perhaps it was the balmy Thanksgiving weather or just a need to get together with friends and family that drew the 1,000-strong crowd to attend this year's Singing with Santa. News intern Alex Wilson took in the sights and sounds on Thanksgiving Friday.
Durango celebrated the start of the holiday season in style last Friday night when more than 1,000 kids, parents, and their family members gathered for the annual Singing with Santa parade and tree lighting ceremony downtown. After gathering at 8th Street and Main Ave and singing a few classic Christmas songs, carolers paraded up Main Ave to Buckley Park. Santa Claus greeted carolers as they arrived at the park, where they were treated to a face painting booth, 25 gallons of hot chocolate, and nearly 1,000 free cookies, compliments of the Durango Business Improvement District and other local sponsors. The evening ended with a brief speech by Bill Carver and one last Christmas carol before the official tree lighting ceremony. The Durango Business Improvement District hosts the Singing with Santa and tree lighting ceremony as part of its efforts to encourage holiday shoppers to shop downtown. For a calendar of holiday events, visit downtowndurango.org.
Thanks, Alex. What a fun tradition Singing with Santa has become. What started out as a marketing ploy to promote their new craft brewery has turned into one of Durango's traditions, the official Snowdown beer. Ska Brewing will pop open its 23rd annual Snowdown Brew at a release party scheduled for 5 p.m. on Friday, December 15th. And this year, for the first time ever, the beer will be sold in cans. But more about that later. The first Snowdown beer was brewed during Ska's first year in business. And to hear Ska founder Dave Thibodeau tell it, it almost put an end to their beer-making dreams.
When we first started in September of 1995, that was when we brewed our first beer. We started talking about, man, we were really into Snowdown even when we first moved to Durango. And we started talking about, gosh, I wonder if Snowdown has ever considered, having an official beer. It was just a thought in our minds. So we went to the Snowdown committee, actually had a meeting with, I think, one of our first kegs we ever made. And that was in late 1995, and we've done it every year since. It was that was actually the first beer we ever packaged or bottled at all, and it was a nightmare. We once we actually got it brewed and decided we were going to bottle it. We didn't even have a bottling machine yet, so we built a bottling machine, and then we bottled it all by hand, and we were spraying beer all over ourselves with this homemade bottling machine, and we were just covered in beer and our foul weather gear, freezing, had mittens on basically while we were doing it, and it took 2 days to just bottle the smallest amount of beer.
The brewery has been pumping out specialty beers for Snowdown ever since.
We usually try to somehow tie the recipe to the theme of Snowdown, which has also been a lot of fun. There's been some really, really good years, some years where it was kind of a stretch, and but that's been a lot of fun. The best year was Boogie Down Snowdown, I think, and we did a Boogie Down Brown, and it was a chocolate hazelnut brown ale, and that was the year that it sold the fastest. It was delicious.
Snowdown celebrates its 40th anniversary with the Black Tie Affair. Events are scheduled from Wednesday, January 31st to Sunday, February 4th. And true to their tradition, Ska plans a Black Tie Affair-inspired beer.
The poster is very simple. It's black and white. And so we thought about, wow, how can we do that? What's a good beer? Black and white's great with our motif. We've done a lot of black and white checkered stuff. But we decided to take a different route, and the idea came from the artist Shan Wells, who we worked with a number of times, and he thought parody would be a cool idea. So what we thought we would do is make a champagne-like beer so that it would go with the black tie affair, but half of it being pear juice. And so it's a champagne-like beer made also with pears, and so the name of the beer is Parody. So for us, it's 40 years of parody being basically what Snowdown's all about.
If champagne comes in bottles, then of course parody beer will come in a can. That's a Snowdown first. You don't have to wait until the official dates of Snowdown to try Ska's champagne of canned beer. It'll be available for tasting at the release party on December 5th, with cans available for purchase at the brewery. Costumes are encouraged. And for our out-of-town viewers who want to try this year's Snowdown beer, you'll have to come to Durango. It isn't sold anywhere else. For more information, visit skabrewing.com. After the break, why you should obey this winter's trail closures. Healthy Living in the Four Corners has been brought to you by San Juan Regional Medical Center. We've all heard the stories. A young athlete collapses after running a play, then dies on the football field or basketball court for seemingly no reason. An autopsy later reveals that he died from an undetected genetic heart defect that caused a fatal cardiac arrest. According to studies sponsored by the Minneapolis Heart Institute Foundation, 1 or 2 athletes out of 200,000 have a congenital heart defect that can lead to sudden death. In the United States, a young competitive athlete dies suddenly every 3 days. Most victims are male, and average age at death is 17.5 years old. Although incidents of sudden death in athletes are rare, San Juan Regional Medical Center and the San Juan Regional Heart Center will offer free adolescent screenings on December 9th to find those who are at risk.
It's completely non-invasive. It's 2 components. One is a surface ECG or electrocardiogram. We actually, someone would take off their shirt, and we use some little stickies that we place on the skin, and then we hook it up to an EKG machine, and it actually gives us a electrical readout of the conduction of the heart. And then the second portion, which is really very elegant, is a cardiac ultrasound, where we actually do an ultrasound just like you do an ultrasound for a baby. We use some gel that's clear, do an ultrasound of the heart, and we get to see all the valves, all the chambers for any abnormalities, any congenital defects, those kind of things. Whole procedure takes probably about 45 minutes. And at the end, the doctor actually sits down and talks with the family and the patient and said, hey, look, things are fine, or we found this little issue here. This is how we move forward.
The screenings will be used to detect any congenital malformations of the heart or vascular system that puts athletes at higher risk.
The most worrisome one that is there is something called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is actually where part of the heart is actually genetically thickened abnormally, and that causes that's the source of an arrhythmia that then can cause sudden death. But some of the other things we can identify is some atypical rhythm disturbances, which we can detect from the ECG. We can detect, like, for example, congenital bicuspid valve disease, where one of the valves should be 3-leaflet, and instead it's from birth a 2-leaflet valve that then needs follow-up through time. So those are the wide array of things that we can identify. Again, all asymptomatic, but finding them preventively before they, and then arranging appropriate follow-up.
Although stories about young athletes dying suddenly generate a lot of headlines, Cheney emphasizes that they are very rare, and athletes and their parents don't need to worry needlessly. The free screenings are offered annually as part of the center's proactive heart health program.
It's almost like even screening for cholesterol. If you screen for cholesterol, you don't know you have really crazy cholesterol that was genetically handed to you. But if you know about that when you're in your 20s, and we can address that before you have your heart attack when you're 40. So it's really kind of a similar kind of thing. Part of the screening is also to give, the athlete and the parents a peace of mind that their heart is fine, it's performing properly, and all those kind of things. Today's athletics, I think, is becoming increasingly more vigorous. I think the skill level is increasing dramatically across the United States. And so as parents and athletes move into that arena, just saying, oh, my heart's okay, you know, I'm pleased with that. Now I'm going to worry about my knees.
The screenings are scheduled from 1 to 5 p.m. on Saturday, December 9th at the hospital at 801 West Maple Street in Farmington. They're available to all student athletes in the Four Corners. Screening participants must be between the ages of 13 and 18, and they must be accompanied by a parent or legal guardian. Pre-registration is required. Registration forms and more information may be found at sanjuanregional.com. I'm Deborah Urota for this edition of Healthy Living in the Four Corners. Are you losing your motivation at work right now? You aren't alone. With holiday shopping chores nagging at you, preparing for out-of-town guests, or getting ready to travel for a holiday trip, focusing at work can be a challenge. The employment specialists at Express Employment Professionals in Durango offer a few tips to stay focused and productive at work. If you can, take a few days off to get your holiday chores wrapped up. Be clear about your schedule and your need to attend holiday school performances or charity commitments. Create a to-do list for both your professional and personal life, then prioritize. Decide what can be moved to the back burner until after the holidays. Focus on one task at a time. In other words, don't try to do your holiday shopping online while you're on a conference call. Don't take your work home with you this time of year. Use that commitment to accomplish what you need to accomplish during work hours. Use home time to do your baking and gift wrapping and other holiday chores. And finally, take care of yourself. Take advantage of the longer nights to get more sleep. Watch how much you drink, and try to eat healthy, balanced meals to maintain your energy and focus during this busy holiday season. Do you have experience preparing business loan packages? This week's hot job lead is for a business development loan officer with experience in commercial lending and business financial statements. The position requires excellent oral and written communication skills, ability to multitask, and ability to build good working relationships with the community. For more information, contact Robert Whitson at expresspros.com.
In the last 3 years, Express Employment Professionals has helped over 1 million people find jobs. Because where others see adversity, we see opportunity. And we are on a mission for 1 million more. Express. Getting you back to work, America.
When it's time for a home or commercial makeover, call the professionals at San Juan Custom Painting. Fast, efficient, reliable, and expert attention to detail. Fully insured. San Juan Custom Painting in Durango.
Hi, I'm John Sigillito, a new realtor with Exit Realty Home and Ranch in Durango. For a superior client experience, whether you're buying, selling, or just looking, let me work with you and help you turn your real estate vision into a reality.
This program is brought to you by Express Employment Professionals, respecting people, impacting business. Located in Durango, serving the Four Corners area.
You're watching Durango TV News. I'm Deborah Urota. Trail closures to protect winter habitat for deer, elk, and other wildlife began on Friday, December 1st. And if you violate those restrictions, you could be charged with a hefty fine. The closures remain in effect until April 15th. Each year, the Bureau of Land Management, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and the City of Durango work together to protect winter habitat. Even with the nice weather, wildlife still need the isolation to stay alive through the winter.
These animals have been fueling up, and it's kind of like when you go on a road trip with your car, you fuel up your gas tank. And then as you drive, obviously, you're using your gas up, and eventually you'll have to refill that gas tank, or else your car dies. Same thing with these animals. They've been out there, they've been fueling up, they've been filling their gas tanks through the summertime. But now with the winter setting on, the food that they're eating isn't as nutritional. They're burning more than they're taking in. So it's the same thing, they're burning through their gas. And they can't fill up again until next May. So it's really important that they use that fuel to keep them alive. And any type of disturbance, it's kind of like you stepping on your gas and flooring it. You're going to burn through more energy. The same with animals. When they get disturbed, somebody walks by, they stand up, they look around, they might walk a few feet, they're burning more energy.
Meister says that individuals are often tempted to violate the closures because they think they alone won't have an impact on wildlife. But even one person can stress animals trying to conserve as much energy as they can.
You go by, the animal lifts up their head, they look around, they walk off, then they go back to feeding, and then somebody else walks by and they do that. And it's that cumulative effect that starts running them down. And dogs are an important issue too, because dogs, it's almost like drag racing. The animals are a lot more alert. They view those as a bigger threat, whether they're on a leash or worse, even if they're off a leash, running around free. And they really burn through the energy then. So it's really a cumulative through the winter time. And then you also have snow makes an impact, as well as cold temperatures. Just trying to stay warm. If there's some disease that the herd has or that animal has, it's fighting that disease as well. So it's all cumulative.
The CPW and BLM will be sending officers into closed areas this winter to ticket violators. $60 for a CPW violation and a fine of $250 or more for BLM violation of a closure. Repeat offenders could face jail time. Closures include trails in the Grandview Ridge area, upper trails on Animas Mountain, upper trails in the Twin Buttes area, Photo State Wildlife Area, and Perrins Peak. Popular trails that will remain open include Horse Gulch, Kreitz Connect and Skyline areas, Lower Twin Buttes trails, Dalla Mountain Park over in Mountain Park and Fort Lewis College, the Colorado Trail, and lower trails on Animas Mountain. Trails 2000 keeps a list and maps of all winter closures at trails2000.org. Thanks for watching this edition of Durango TV News. If you'd like to watch this week's stories again or check on past stories, visit our website at durangotv.com. You can also sign up for our newsletter and visit us on Facebook. Durango celebrates the holidays with special events, concert plays, and other activities almost every day, and you can find those activities through what'shappeningdurango.com. Durango's local events calendar has something for everyone. New events are posted daily. Check back often at what'shappeningdurango.com. It's easy and free. Go to what'shappeningdurango.com. We hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Be safe, and please don't drink and drive. I'm Deborah Urota, sitting in for Wendy Graham-Settle, who will be back in the studio next week. In the meantime, be sure to tune into Durango TV, where we celebrate Southwest Colorado every day. Celebrate the holiday season with a classic performance of The Nutcracker by the State Street Ballet, featuring a live performance of Tchaikovsky's most famous score by the San Juan Symphony. Evening and matinee performances on December 8th, 9th, and 10th at the Fort Lewis College Community Concert Hall. Enter to win 2 free tickets to The Nutcracker by registering at durangotv.com. Entry deadline is Monday, December 4th.
You will find Durango's best burger and fries at Grass Burger, serving 100% grass-fed beef, vegan black bean burgers, tacos, and bowls. Clean, nutritious food from our family to yours.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain or knee pain? If you answered yes, you